So my name's Julie. I'm a freshman in college, a Newport graduate. I was a part of New Generation for all 4 years of high school. And New Gen was really the greatest supporting community I had for a big portion of high school. So I'm really thankful for all of you guys. Don't be So I joined a worship team when I was about like 6th or 7th grade, which says nothing about my walk with God back then, since I really didn't know what I was doing. But I joined the New Gen worship team towards the end of my freshman year, and then served as the worship leader the junior and senior year. And now I'm continuing my worship leading journey at my church, Hwang. Basically, I'm telling you this, saying that I've spent a lot of time struggling and wrestling with the idea of worship, and hopefully that's enough for you guys to lend an ear to me and listen to what I have to say. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm really excited to be talking to you guys about what worship is. So, first, I want to clarify what this is right now as we come together to spend some time in music. I want to say that there aren't, not all the songs that we sing during this time is actually worship. And I would say that there are at least 3 purposes for the songs being sung. The first being the biggest and the most obvious reason, which is congregational worship. This is the response we have to God, who God is, what He's done, and what He says. An example of that would be "Worthy is the Lamb," which says, "Worthy is the Lamb seated on the throne. We crown you now with many crowns. You reign victorious." The second is to encourage the community. These songs are usually reflective songs or songs that tell stories about Christ. They're not necessarily worship, but they do bring people back to the heart of worship. An example of this would be "Came to My Rescue." It says, "I called, you answered, and you came to my rescue." And the third is to verbalize a call and a desire for commitment to God. An example of this would be "Ever Be." It says, "Your praise will ever be on my lips. You will be praised with angels and saints." And I wouldn't say that all these songs fit perfectly into these 3 categories, and I'm not saying that these are the only categories that the songs could fit into, but I guess I'm just trying to clarify that not all the songs are indeed worship. So a lot of contemporary Christian music is often focused on us, the worshiper, and not God, the one we worship. But worship, like I said before, is a response. So if worship is a response, then what are we responding to? I think that it's really important that we realize what we're responding to, why we're responding, why it's necessary for us to respond. If I came running to you after you fell into a ditch and I pulled you out, it wouldn't be expected that you respond by sobbing because you heard that my dog had died, right? That's not really the response that would be expected in that situation, right? You would probably be showing, hopefully, gratitude that I saved you from the ditch. But I guess saying that, I'm saying our response should reflect what happened, right? It's something that should make sense after what happened. So as I said before, worship is a response to who God is, what He's done, and what He says. Our worship is new every day, not because God is changing, but because God is always working in our lives and doing things in our lives which we respond to, right? And God is God isn't just doing the same thing over and over again in your life, because your life is always changing, and with that, your worship changes. Because if your worship is your response, and the thing that's happening that we are responding to is changing, then obviously our response is also changing, which brings us to the conclusion that worship is new every time we do it. So again, with that, and talking about how our worship is response, it's important that your response reflects what you truly feel. I think coming together, we often try to worship the way other people are worshiping, but if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense, because it's really unlikely that God is doing the exact same thing in your life and in my life. So our response should, I'm not saying it has to be drastically different, but it is different. Our worship and our response is different, or should be different, because of what God is doing in our lives. So with that comes the honesty. We come here in the presence of the King of Kings, the creator of the universe, and it's our time to be honest with God. If there's something that's in your heart and you're saying man, I don't quite believe that, what you're singing, if you don't believe that when you call Jesus comes, then why are you singing it like it's true? Why are you raising your hands as if that's something that happens to you, but you're actually struggling with it in your heart, asking God to come and feeling like he doesn't? Or if you don't really believe that God is your good father, that you don't think that he's actually looking out for you and caring for you, then why are you singing it like it is true to you? Our worship has to be honest with him. And why we come here to do this worship is not so that we can look like everyone else, right? This is a place where we invite God to be with us, and we welcome him, and it's a place where we get to spend time with God, and we shouldn't take that for granted and just lie to him and ourselves and say, yeah, I believe those things that are being said by our worship team. Just because they're singing it doesn't mean that you have to sing it or that you have to believe it. You should never hide your true feelings with God, because God can work with your honesty. If you're lying I guess is kind of a heavy term, but if you're just trying to be a good Christian and not being honest with how you really feel and how you and what you believe is true, then it makes it harder for you to let God come and reveal to you the truth that you need to hear. So I guess I really encourage you guys tonight to be really honest with how you feel and what you believe. If it doesn't look like everyone else, if you want to get down on your knees while everyone else is standing, I really encourage you to, and I'm sure everyone else is I think that's what they want, is people want us to be honest and not to just look like everybody else here in this sanctuary. But yeah, and just to remember that we're responding to what God has done, who God is. We give him worship because he's the King of Kings and he's worth all of it. He deserves all of it, and it's a privilege to be here. If I can ask the worship team to come up and get ready for the night.